Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Friday, the 17th of December. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this Friday morning by Joshua Barrie. Joshua, how are we doing?
Fine, Derek. I'm joining you from my phone today while the Wi-Fi man comes round after yesterday's debacle, should we say. But no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Seems to be so much football at the moment, which is just what we like. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully another 3 points for Rangers tomorrow afternoon at Ibrox.
Yeah, RIP to your Wi-Fi yesterday, Joshua. It certainly gave up the ghost, but we made it through nonetheless. Folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, and I know so many of you now do so, thanks very much for doing just that. And if you haven't already done so, just hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when we go live. Number of you getting in touch already. Let's talk about tomorrow then, Joshua. Of course, Rangers taking on Dundee United. There were concerns during the week that the game may not go ahead due to a COVID outbreak at the Tannadice club. But as far as we're aware, and as things stand, the game is going ahead, which is great news. I know that people book tickets in advance and they come from far and wide to visit Ibrox. So fantastic news that the game is going to go ahead as it stands, of course. What sort of game are you expecting tomorrow?
A difficult one, I think, when you look at Rangers' game against Dundee United earlier in the season. I don't think that Tam Courts will be quite as predictable as some other teams that come to some other managers that come to Ibrox that are solely focused on containment. You know, Dundee United, they've dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, but have had some impressive results this season. So I think it'll be a tricky tie. But again, you know, I've just been looking at the stats from the St Johnstone game. Derek, and Rangers made 725 passes. You know, and the reason I'm saying that is I think against Hearts it was down about 400. Van Bronckhorst's alterations game to game, I think, is making it quite hard for teams to predict what Rangers will do, and therefore making it harder to come and kind of shut up shop because of the different components that he's brought to the team. So I think it should be like at most games at Ibrox, if not any, if Rangers hit their performance ceiling, they'll win. That would make it, I think, 6 wins in a row in the league. I get confused between how many games there's been in Europe as well. I think that'll be 6 in a league in a row, with the potential of making that 7 wins at St Mirren Ibrox on Boxing Day. So a really kind of opportune situation now, Derek, to go and get 2 more wins, and I think there'll be a little bit of rotation, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But judging by the tempo that the side played with, even in midweek, and have done so in the last few games, you'd feel very confident going into this one that they'll do enough to go and get another 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Dundee United came out on top when the sides met at Tannadice earlier in the season. Rangers' only defeat in the league in 18 months. It is quite an incredible stat. Of course, Rangers have changed managers since then. Joshua, can we look into that game a great deal, do you think? Or do you think it's going to be a completely different match on Saturday?
Yeah, not for me. I mean, you look at that game and it was kind of the epitome of Gerrard's approach away from home on some occasions, not on all, but in some where, you know, he spoke about having to win the battle, and that the midfield 3 of Lundstrom, Davies and Kamara reflected that. You look at then the subsequent midfields at Tynecastle with Arfield, Aribo and Kamara, and I think that shows you the different approach and perhaps how Van Bronckhorst would approach the game away at Tannadice. So I don't think so. Again, you look at the tactics that Rangers used in that game. That was one of the prime examples of Ryan Kent playing inside when it didn't work, when he was coming towards the ball too often, when Borna Barisic was always the one isolated wide. You saw in midweek, Derek, in the first 15 minutes, Ryan Kent isolated himself on Sean Rooney 3 times and got shots off 3 times. That's a new threat that Rangers have, whether that be him or Fashion Sakala. So I think there'll be a completely different approach. Joe Aribo was playing kind of off the right last time at Tannadice. Now he in attack is getting a lot more freedom because of how good he is, and it's, you know, works really, really well. So Rangers do just seem to have quite an array of options. James Tavernier spoke about that before the St Johnstone game, the abundance of tactics that the managers brought in, which I thought was a good line from the captain. But as well as that, I think that there is start a pattern emerging at home. You look at the approach to Dundee and St Johnstone; it was quite similar. But I thought the way that Rangers really stretched the pitch, retained tempo. You look at how Calvin Batty won the ball back for that corner kick. They have so many different ways to hurt opponents at the moment. So I think it's night and day to that game up at Tannadice. The approach is different. And yeah, as I say, I think Van Bronckhorst, his approach at Tynecastle shows that you would have not went to go and win the battle first at Tannadice on that day.
Yeah, so many questions coming in, folks. An interesting one from Alan Stewart Laurie Hall. He says Ryan Kent's goal was top class the other night. It looked like it was worked on in the training ground. Morelos looked back to his best at times during it. There's the clip of that goal on Twitter. I do urge you to have a look at it, folks. It was certainly is. It looks great every time you watch it. Joshua, you were there seeing it in the flesh, and it's great to see the team playing like this with a confidence, and they look resurgent, of course, and they look like they've got more life in them since the appointment of Van Bronckhorst. And goals like this, I mean, they came often last season, that's for sure. They almost were scoring a goal of the season every week, and it's great to see them scoring goals like this. Team goals, there's nothing better than watching a great team goal unfold.
Yeah, and we've obviously got a breakdown of the goal on the site as well. Which, I mean, if you look at that goal in detail, Callum Davidson spoke after the game about going two up top. It's half-time to try and, which allowed Rangers to subsequently get down the side. But because Rangers played out so quickly, it was one of the rare times that St Johnstone tried to press. And if you look at the freeze frames of the goal and kind of the pass-on-pass, if you will, which we've analysed on the site, you can see when Ianis Hagi has the ball, he's able to play the ball quickly out of an area where St Johnstone have 5 players. Really to Rangers 1, and Rangers then, I think, as the kind of question stipulates, going, the term I used is find the underload, where St Johnstone, they've got 5 players in one area of the pitch. Obviously, that means that they're going to be outnumbered in another area of the pitch. If you look at Arfield and Kent's kind of dovetailing run, they know what they're doing by Arfield coming into the box. Rooney then has to track him, leaving Kent free. Morelos not shooting from that position is a minor miracle, but I think again speaks to, you look at his involvement against Antwerp last year when he was involved in 7 or 8 of the 9 goals. That's when he's at his best, I think, when he's unselfless in those areas. So a really, really good team goal, played right through the heart, but also as well, Derek, if you look at Joe Aribo in that goal, I think Ianis Hagi and Joe Aribo really make that goal, because Hagi plays the ball first time out of that area on his so-called weak foot, although he doesn't really have a weak foot. But if you look at Aribo isn't looking to come towards the ball then. He's looking to break beyond, cause havoc, go beyond the line, because he's glancing at Morelos and he's looking to go off of his movement. And because he does that, it means he can be flicked around the corner first time and then played back in. So really, really impressive. And I think it not only shows what they're working on the training ground, but shows the different principles. As in Kent staying wide, that goal doesn't happen if Ryan Kent's tucked infield, because Borna Barisic isn't the same threat. In terms of Aribo going beyond, in terms of even Hagi being wide, which I know hasn't sat well with everyone, but certainly it's shown some benefits in recent weeks. And obviously, of course, Morelos playing more as a focal point and not coming into midfield.
Yeah, there's a point here that's been made. Kent Hagi need to start adding a few more goals. I think they're both well behind their numbers from last season. Am I right in thinking that was Kent's second goal of the season? I'm not too sure how accurate that is, but you'd be. I know you've been injured for much of the campaign. Great to have him back, and he was on form the other night. But you're certainly wanting more goals from Ryan Kent, you'd imagine.
Yeah, but I think you look, Derek, at his form under Van Bronckhorst, and you'd say that will come. I think the main thing that you want under Ryan Kent is to see him kind of utilising his best assets, which you've seen from the first seconds against Sparta Prague when he did that mazy run from outside to in that got fans so excited and reminded them this is, it was very resemblant of the assist for Ryan Jack and the 1-0 Old Firm win, Stephen Gerrard's first Old Firm win, attacking a defender from that area, or a defence from that area. So I think those goals will come. I think Ryan Kent, as I say, also had 3 shots in the first half. He's being more direct. His role's been simplified, and I'm sure those goals will follow. You also have the penalty win against Hibs. Some involvements can't quite be quantified in the same way as a goal and assist, or we don't think of them in that traditional way as being as impactful. We obviously did a piece about on-ball value recently, and Kent is by far and away the highest on-ball value when he dribbles with the ball, when he runs with the ball. So yeah, sometimes again to use another example to blab on more, you look at the Joe Rebo's goal at Livingston. Ryan Kent drags two men out towards him because of his threat, plays the ball out of that area quickly, similar to the St Johnstone goal, where there must be an underload somewhere, and Joe Rebo can swing one into the top corner unmarked. So I agree that he'll want to score more goals, but I think his impact's been pretty clear, and sometimes it's not always as easy to measure.
Yeah, this leads us nicely on a comment from Hugh Duff, who says that he thinks Goldson over the recent matches has been superb. You've got a piece on the
Yes,
website
yeah.
this morning, Joshua, on Connor Goldson, and he has been much improved, like many players under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, and full credit to him as well for coaching Calvin Bassey through games. And I mean, Calvin Bassey's improvement is there for all to see. But Connor Goldson himself, what have you made of him since Van Bronckhorst has come in?
Yeah, excellent. As you say, Derek, Hugh's comment sets us up nicely to talk about the article today on the site, which is kind of a short explainer of how Goldson's role's changed. Goldson's always been trusted on the ball, and the diagonals that we've seen to such effect in Lyon and against Livingston and Hearts, they're not new per se, but because Rangers are playing with just one sitting midfielder, in the same way that Borna Barisic is tucking in field and his roles changed slightly, so too is Goldson's, because the room is there for him to step forward and play into the likes of Rebo. And if you look at the analysis on the site today, you'll see a lot of examples where he's 40 yards from the St Johnstone goal, stepping up, playing as almost a second sitting midfielder, and the benefit of having that means that Rebo Norfield can stay high. So for me, I think, like a lot of the defenders, he's benefiting from a greater protection in front of him, and a change in approach, which is making it harder for teams to attack Rangers. As Hibs, as we've discussed many times in the League Cup semi-final, were able to almost script their attacks to Rangers' weaknesses. That's not happening anymore. But Goldson is being given more, influence in possession. He had 211 touches. He played almost 100 passes against St Johnstone. He really was, the term I used was the quarterback, not just quarterback in the sense of playing those long launched balls, but really setting the tempo for the team at the back. So great to see. I think it shows his importance. I really hope he stays, because I think he's just so important to that Rangers team, and much more difficult to replace than maybe a lot of people give him credit for. And obviously at the same time, he's keeping a lot of zeros. So that's exactly what you want from a Rangers centre-back playing in the Scottish Premiership for me, Derek.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question coming in from Colin Cameron. He says, "Morning, lads. What's your thoughts on how we should line up if Borna Barisic is missing in the next match?" Now, you asked Van Bronckhorst this at the end of the game in midweek, Joshua, and he was unwell. I mean, full credit for him for, I think he was sick before the game, and he managed to sort of play through the sickness barrier, if you like, and it just got too much for him. He was replaced by Nathan Patterson. I fully expect him to be okay for Saturday. If not, in terms of changes, I mean, Van Bronckhorst has shown he's not one to make wholesale changes. I mean, if Borna is missing, Nathan Patterson comes in for me. Other than that, I'm not too sure I would make. The only change I would possibly make, and folks, will get our predicted lineups out on the website later on today, would be perhaps Hagi for Sakala again, but that's the only one that sort of screams out at me. But I don't think there'll be too many changes. What say you?
Yeah, I'd keep Patterson in there. I think unless Rangers, as we discussed a little bit, and I'm sure we'll speak about more, unless Rangers kind of change their shape at the back so that Tavernier's tucking in, as Barisic has been tucking in, but from the opposite side, and then Nathan Patterson is high in the width on the right, I think he'd be fine in at that left back position. I think it would be altered slightly. I also think that it might be a case that Patterson plays on the right and Tavernier tucks in on the left, and although that might freak some people out, if you look at the areas that Borna Barisic is picking the ball in outside the area, I think James Tavernier could be really effective from there. Have a lot of kind of creative freedom, but we'll see. I don't know. In terms of other changes, for me, I'd keep Hagi in there. I think he didn't have a good first half; he had a good second half. He created a lot of space with movement that I think goes quite unrecognised for Aribo, although they sometimes played on one another's toes too much. But if you look at that second goal, it's a perfect example of, I think, what that Rangers lineup's trying to do often, which is overplay and create overloads on the right-hand side, and then keep Kent wide on the left, allow Arfield to arrive in the box, which worked so well for that second goal. For me, if you play Sakala and Kent at Ibrox when there's not as much space to run into, you risk Sakala playing too much with his back to goal, and I don't think it quite complements the balance of the side. Hadji obviously allows sometimes having it to come high as well. I don't think Sakala plays that ball that Hadji plays so quickly for the second goal. So might be a case that Kent's rested. There obviously is quite a break after this game. I said quite a break on it. I think 8 days, 7 days, 8 days, which which is important to bear in mind because it perhaps speaks to the lack of rotation as such. I'd like to see Bakuna play at some point. I know the managerial change is come into play, but against Ross County, I thought he was excellent. And especially in one of those advanced number 8 roles, it would be interesting to see how he did there. Aside from that, Derek, I'm with you. I don't see too many changes in that team. Maybe a Stephen Davis or a John Lundstrom comes in, but do you want to not play Glenn Kamara? No, so maybe they don't.
Yeah. We'll finish up, Josh. Questions came in from Rangers Easy OK, and it's one that I'm not too sure we can answer at this point. It says, morning lads, what are the chances do you reckon of AFCON getting called off the African Nations Cup? Could do with Aribo and Bassi getting a rest. Of course, Aribo, Bassi and Leon Balogun expected to be called up to the Nigeria squad for that tournament. Rangers would be missing them for a number of weeks. I put a piece on the website, I think it was a week or so ago, about the games that they would miss if they were to go away. Now, of course, the COVID situation is very fluid. We don't quite know what's going to happen in the coming weeks with regards to it. I know there's several games called off in the Premier League and this week, and also in the EFL down south. I think it's inevitable it's going to happen up in Scotland, given the case numbers. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that competition postponed, Joshua, so that the likes of Aribo, Bassi and Balogun remain in Glasgow.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the old kind of club and country debate, isn't it? Where players obviously really want to represent their country, but managers probably really want them to stay around. I don't know. I think the one thing you can definitely take away is that Ross Wilson will have, and Van Bronckhorst, since he's come in, will have planned for this. Whether that mean that they do need a little bit more loan cover at the back, whether that mean that some players in the squad who have not seen as much are there to provide the depth that is needed in moments like this. Your piece on the site explained what games they're going to miss. If they were missing the run of fixtures that Rangers have been on and are still in, I think that would be more problematic. So no idea what was going to happen. If we have to survive without them for a bit, I'm sure every Rangers fan will want to see them, do well for their country, do well on the international stage, and rely on players then getting given their opportunity. I don't think it's any bad thing at all, Derek, to have players given an opportunity. The likes of Bakuna will need to take their chance when they're offered it, and that period of time might just allow them that. So we'll see. But as I say, I think I think Ross Wilson and co will have been well aware of this for a while and built the squad subsequently to protect against it.
Yeah, no question about it. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone, as always, for interacting with the show. Remember, if you haven't already done so, if you're watching us on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a video. And also to subscribe to the Rangers Review site itself. Fantastic content on there. Support top quality journalism covering the club you love. It's only £2.99 a month. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. We will have all the build up to the game tomorrow. Just keep your eye on the website and all the reaction on Monday when we return. But until then, enjoy your weekend.